This demo shows the Metaball Explorer program, which is a very high resolution, real-time, 60 frames per second, non-GPU graphics program that we can create in Sagebox, in addition to a bunch of controls that we can manipulate it with. So we can increase or decrease the speed, and we can also change the light angle in the 3 different planes, and we can also change the metaball size themselves or the number of metaballs displaying on the screen at any given time. And this really represents a lot of power that we can give this program through the use of the controls in the dev window. So one thing we can do with these dev window controls is we can select different modes, like we have this kind of screensaver-esque mode here, which really creates an aesthetically really beautiful display in a widescreen mode, and it just will run forever until we stop it. And you can see up there it's taking about 6 milliseconds per frame, and we're not even on the GPU. So this program was written as a more high quality, comprehensive Metaball Explorer with many different modes that we can explore and play around with. So one mode is these paint drops right here, which is kind of a neat mode. You know, when I built this program, I didn't know that you could do so many things that were different and really kind of neat to look at. And this is one of them where we have these paint drops dropping, where I can do stuff like change the size and other ways to play with the controls. And there's also now like a spire mode here where we kind of, looks like these things are shooting up into the sky, but it's also fading into the background. So it's persistent, but it's fading so fast it really adds depth to the display. I also have a screensaver mode that shows that we can do very high quality graphics in really just standard graphics with just putting stuff out to the screen, which is really nice because it allows us to play around with things like this, which is just a really nice screensaver that fades to black. And I really had a lot of fun writing it, and so this is something that you can run all day, and I really should just make a bona fide screensaver out of it and release it. It's just really such a pretty thing. So let's go back to the original mode because I want to show the Explorer part of the Metaball Explorer. The point is to show how the metaballs are constructed. So what we can do is we can start with essentially a blank screen and show the circles that form the basis of the metaball shape that we're building in 3D. So as we look at just these circles, this is actually the basis for the entire metaball shape that we're looking at in 3D. So if we redisplay the 3D part and leave the circles on, you can see the circles following the 3D shape, showing that it really just does come from a bunch of circles. So now if we select an outline mode, this may look familiar. This may look like a marching square outline, and it really isn't. It's a different algorithm entirely. But we show the outline because it's just kind of easy to show where the basis of the metaball shape is coming from, and we can also show it in color. And then now what we can do is we can actually show the filled shape, which is actually easier to generate than the outline, and you can see that we really just have what we see as a metaball shape a lot in other programs out there. And now when I show it in color, now we're starting to kind of see the formation of the 3D shape in progress, even though it's still flat. It's actually pretty on its own. It's actually a Voronoi display in terms of color. But going back to the monochrome display, let's get down to one circle and one metaball and stop it in motion. So let's go ahead and make the metaball bigger, and what you'll see is the circle and the metaball are exactly the same shape. The reason for that is that when there's just one circle, there's no metaball shape to generate, but it does give us an idea of how to make it 3D. So if we just look at it as a filled circle, we can just look at it down from the top in the z-plane and just say the center is the height of the radius and the edges are at 0. So then if we do that, we get this shape. So now it looks kind of 3D-ish and kind of an amorphous shape where it's emitting light. And when we add more circles, we start getting that metaball shape. And when we start animating it, we get kind of a nice shape running around. And if we remove the circles, it's actually starting to look pretty good. So now if we add color to it, it really does look kind of nice. In a way, that's all we need. But if we go back to the monochrome version of it, we can also add diffusion and reflection and basically a Phong-model of lighting to make it look very 3D. And it turns out that Sagebox has all of the Phong modeling in it as functions that we can call. So we can actually transform this into a very 3D model in about 20 lines of code because these functions are already written and provided with the Sagebox library. So now as I select the mode that has the Phong 3D model, it really does look much more 3D, and then when I set the lighting angle, we can really make it look moody with a different lighting angle that we can move all about the 3 planes. And now when I put it in color, now we're back to the model that we had when we started. And now if I just stop clearing the screen between frames, we get a very pretty screensaver, aesthetic looking display, which we can play around with and basically get ideas for. But let's go ahead and go back to the original mode, because as a Metaball Explorer that's meant to be comprehensive, it could be a good teaching tool. For example, we can on the left put the component display where we're showing the outline with the circles and then the filled interior and then the amorphous interior and so forth, and the actual 3D output on the right, so we can really see the components coming together. So that's really the overview. I purposely split this video into two parts because this is such a powerful example. I wanted to show that power of what we can do in Rust with a GUI like Sagebox that provides the graphics and the controls. So I pretty much just leave you with this screensaver display going as I fade out. And I'll also do another video where I explore the code more, and you can also look at the code online in the GitHub repository.